Hi folks, today we're going to take a look at LIA, where we get to see some more of the footage from the city council meeting after public comment, where Mayor Alfrey actually addresses the allegations of corruption and embezzlement. But before we start today's video, as always, a big thank you to all my current and new channel members and subscribers. Without you guys, I couldn't keep this channel going, so I want to thank you all personally from the bottom of my heart. And a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Aura. It's that time of year again. Stores are full of shoppers, and Mariah Carey comes out of her icy thaw to demand her tribute as always.
It's
And with us traveling and shopping online more, we need to keep our online security safe, and this is where today's sponsor can help, Aura. Aura is an online digital security that protects your data with 24-hour monitoring of your personal data, your credit, and make sure your data doesn't get sold off to data brokers. And with it being the holiday season, we do a lot more traveling, and we're going to be on public Wi-Fi a lot.
I'm not driving, I'm traveling.
And doing online shopping can leave your data open to data thieves and data brokers selling off your data, and hackers and scammers trying to get your info, but you can make your data safe. Aura is offering you a free 14-day trial by clicking my link, aura.com/NCR, or scanning the QR code. You can cancel at any time. So let Aura help keep your data safe this holiday season. That's aura.com/NCR, or scan the QR code, or click the link down in the description box and start your free 14-day trial. Thank you again to Aura for sponsoring today's video. And don't forget to sign up for your free 14-day trial. Not only is it the best way to help keep our personal data safe, but it's the best way to help support me and the channel. With all that being said, let's enjoy today's video.
So I know this is a very sensitive topic, but it keeps coming up. So in the or in the interest of transparency for the city manager and city attorney, what are we doing about the Habitat for Humanity issue? Because silence right now is doing a lot more harm than good.
Actually, I can address that. To my understanding, there's been a complaint filed with the ethics. At least that's what I've been told, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it so far.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the first, to go back to, was that May? April, May.
May.
When the submittal was made for the check for Habitat for Humanity, for the payment, the invoice, we did a review at that time, because they submitted their what their reimbursables were. We reviewed it, and at that time we acknowledged that it did not violate the ARPA regulations, so it did not violate the federal regulations. So we paid Habitat for Humanity their full amount. When this came up again, we did a very, very thorough review. I think maybe I need a third or fourth very in there. We had multiple people looking at it. The city manager's office was looking at it. The city attorney's office was looking at it. The finance department was looking. And we did a deep dive. Ended up coming to the same conclusion from multiple sources that we met the federal requirements. We met the ARPA requirements. So we're good on that side, despite what's being said.
I'm starting to think that the city manager is in on the corruption, or
Oh shit, here we go again.
she's completely incompetent, one or the other, because despite her very, 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 very thorough review finding absolutely nothing, I easily found the violation of federal rules. The mayor's actions violate federal ARPA conflict of interest requirements under 31 CFR 35.35. Any officer of a recipient government is prohibited from participating in the selection, award, or administration of an ARPA-funded contract if a real or apparent conflict of interest exists. Treasury compliance and reporting guidance reinforces this requirement, mandating that officials with any financial interest in an ARPA-funded activity must disclose the conflict and recuse themselves, not vote on it. Treasury incorporates the Uniform Guidance Rule at 2 CFR 200.318C1, which states that no officer or agent may participate in a federally funded contract decision if they or their business stand to benefit financially. Seems pretty simple to me, Mrs. City Manager.
Now, what Sean is alluding to is the $10,000 that Habitat for Humanity paid Alfring Roofing Company to complete a job for them. At the time, they were not the contractor to do the roofs when they voted to get the money. Now, at the time of them getting the money, they had a previous contractor already set up. But when it came to the attention that he was not licensed or insured or had the manpower to do the job, the mayor's company, Alfrey Roofing, actually said they would do the job. And they only took what they only needed from what it shows on the checks, an approximate amount of around $10,000. So Sean's claims here that they violated the law here isn't true because the mayor wasn't hired to do the job at the time when they voted onto it. He simply, as a friend of the people who run Habitat for Humanity, offered to do the job because he was licensed and insured to do so. It's not a conflict of interest because he did a legitimate job for them. And if he wants to say that this is a conflict or a violation of ethics, fine. Submit an ethics complaint and allow them to determine what is and what is illegal or if any crime has committed, because Sean has no standing in this. He's just, like the mayor said, an out-of-town agitator.
So then we took it a step farther, and I looked at what was the agreement with Habitat for Humanity, the actual agreement that we signed with them. Now, when we put that out for an RFA, request for applications, there were criteria in there because if you recall, when those ARPA projects came out, the final rule for ARPA wasn't solidified yet. So that was a moving target for a while. So when we put that out, we included some additional forms that usually are involved with CDBG or HUD projects. And so part of those forms they filled out were included in reference to in the agreement that was later signed by Habitat. So in that additional review, we determined that there was the possibility of a default of the contract. So as we followed our standard procedures, we issued a letter. I don't know if I have all this information with me, but we issued a letter to Habitat for Humanity and Macedonia Community Development Corporation. And we gave them that there were some conflicts in there, and we gave them the opportunity to cure the situation. And as of yesterday, Cindy already left. As of yesterday, Habitat for Humanity had cured the default, and so they are no longer, they're not considered in default, and they met the terms of the agreement.
Okay, so Habitat for Humanity, according to the contract they signed to get the money that was voted upon for them, had some issues. They've addressed those issues. All right, there were some conflicts. They addressed them. They took care of them. So everything is in good standing still. This isn't a corruption issue. This is Sean just trying to stir the pot. Now, he's trying to accuse the city manager of being corrupt. This is a standard tactic for Sean. He likes to say that, the mayor's corrupt, the city council's corrupt, this individual, that individual, X, Y, and Z, without any proof. Now, if there was any validity to these claims, then the FDLE would be handling this a lot more. This would be a bigger thing. The Attorney General will be involved. This would be major news. But this is actually stemming from a personal vendetta between the mayor's late brother's ex-wife and him over the issue of the ownership of the company. But Sean is here only to agitate this even further because that's what he does. I mean, look at all of his videos when he goes to any city council meeting. This is his standard practice.
I don't know if you want to add to that, Adam.
Well, that's one aspect of this issue, right? Was in understanding better what had happened and a review of the contract. Did we have any issue with our contract with the federal guidelines, right? That's the city's relationship with Habitat for Humanity, right? And then you start getting separately into these allegations of unethical conduct by the mayor, by an individual council member, right? In my initial review of that, there is at least a chain of Commission on Ethics opinions that is suggesting that the nature of the relationship between the mayor, his roofing company, Habitat for Humanity, and the city isn't necessarily a conflicting contractual relationship, right? And so, again, there have been requests, there have been demands for the city to, lodge complaints, do investigations, other things, right? My based on my understanding of how the Commission on Ethics is looking at those ethical standards, it's not definitive that they would see it as a violation.
Again, complicity or incompetence. It's very simple to look up Florida ethics violations, Mr. City Attorney. Let me help you out. The mayor's conduct violates multiple provisions of Florida's ethics laws. Under Florida Statutes 112.3143(3)A, a local public officer is prohibited from voting on or participating in any measure that would result in a, quote, special private gain for themselves or their business by voting to award $500,000 to Space Coast Habitat for Humanity and signing the approving resolution, while his company, Alfred Roofing, later received nearly $10,000 from that same ARPA-funded project. The mayor participated in a matter that produced a direct private financial benefit.
Shenanigans.
Na 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 na
Shenanigans.
na 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 na.
And we're calling shenanigans, folks, because Sean is forgetting something very crucial here. His company was not the original contractor on the original project. Yes, the mayor voted for Habitat for Humanity to get the $500,000 from the ARPA funds. He signed the resolution. However, at the time, there was already another contractor to do the roof job for that project. However, when it came out that that person did not have a license, was not insured, and did not have the men to do the job, the mayor offered his company to do the job for Habitat for Humanity. At any point, Habitat for Humanity can say, we appreciate that, but no, we'll find somebody else, so there's no inherent bias if there was something that could get them in trouble with the federal guidelines. Seeing as Habitat for Humanity is a 501c company, they would be forced to show all documentation and records upon request. This is the problem that Sean has, is he's trying to say that the mayor was going to do the job from the start. That's why he voted on it. That's not what happened, and he knows it.
Constituting a clear violation of 112.3143. Additionally, Florida Statute 112.3136 prohibits a public official from using their official position to secure a special privilege, benefit, or exemption for themselves or a business with which they are associated. Finally, 112.3137A prohibits public officers from having contractual relationships that create a continuing or frequent reoccurring conflict with their public duties or that impede the full and faithful discharge of those duties. You got all that, Mr. City Attorney?
To be able to file a complaint requires a notarized and under oath statement of facts as to how a person believes that a violation of those ethics standards has occurred. Based on the information that I have, I wouldn't feel ready to swear under oath like here's exactly how this ethical violation occurred. Now, as to when you heard from Mr. Colombo from previous, he was coming to the conclusion that there had to have been a voting conflict of interest even at the time in June of 2024, right? Some existing relationship or some quid pro quo between Alfred Roofing and the mayor and Space Coast Habitat for Humanity. I'm not aware of any of those facts individually, and so again, right, that would be if other people have other information that would suggest that type of ethical violation, then they're in a better position than I am to submit that to Commission on Ethics for further review and evaluation.
Now, the city attorney has brought up a valid point. If there is any real proof that somebody has that the mayor has a quid pro quo relationship going on with Habitat for Humanity to get the ARPA funds that Sean's accusing him of embezzling nearly $10,000 from, then he needs to provide that. Or somebody needs to come up and say, hey, here's the evidence. Go swear it to, the affidavit to the ethics committee. Let them investigate. But Sean hasn't done that. the family attorney for the ex-wife and daughter of Mayor Alfrey's late brother are saying, well, we are getting closer to providing proof, then why don't you get the proof you have, the proof that Sean has, and say, here's what we have, I swear this to be factual and true, and do it. Because if it's not true, these are baseless accusations. There's no real evidence of a quid pro quo relationship going on with the mayor and Habitat for Humanity. It just seems like this one job when the contractor they had fell through. And if they would have used an unlicensed, uninsured contractor, the house could have been condemned, not to mention they could be losing their federal fundings for an indefinite period due to the fact that they violated the law and safety standards of the state.
So again, right, from the city's perspective, our re-review addressed our contractual issue with Habitat for Humanity as to allegations of unethical conduct by the mayor. Those are really best evaluated by the organization that's responsible for that, is the Commission on Ethics. And so again, right, as I understand the facts, and I may not have all the facts, right, I will make that caveat, but on my understanding of what I can see through the documentation, what was submitted, the documentation that the city has, it's not crystal clear to me that there's been an ethical violation, right? And so I'm reluctant to submit something to Commission on Ethics myself, and that's my report to you of kind of where we're at.
And actually, I'm going to fill some more information in, and I'll be glad to send council this.
Okay.
And again, I want to be very sensitive because there is more pending litigation coming up in regards to this.
Fair enough.
For example, and I'm going to bring this one thing, and when this gets submitted, and I would say, and in my opinion, the paid agitator who has come here several times has been working in coordination with my sister-in-law, who I have a lawsuit with. Now, I will present this, and I'll be glad to send it to you. On October 23, 2025, she's a bookkeeper, went and pulled the checks from our account. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. The issue that I have is an unredacted checks within an hour were sent to me by the YouTuber. And the plot thickens! So my sister-in-law must have sent it to him within the hour, and he sends it back, Paul, you need to resign. That's not, that, instead of asking, hey, what's going on? Paul, you need to resign. And then his comment is 100% a piece of move effing loser to me.
Oh, this is definitely not looking good for Sean. I mean, think about it. How did he get his hands on the unredacted checks unless he was given them by the mayor's late brother's ex-wife? So this is showing that this is a planned, coordinated attack to get the mayor to do what the late brother's wife wants him to do. Sean is using them as a weapon, or he's being used as a weapon to try to intimidate the mayor into resigning. Because how else did he get those unredacted checks? If he did a records request, the checks would be redacted in a way not to show any routing information, any information that could be linked back to the bank accounts, other than the amount, the date, and the signature on the checks. But Sean has the unredacted and he shows them to the mayor? Ooh, Sean, you might have stepped into something you shouldn't have.
And as well as, and I will present this to the Ethics Commission, if it makes there, if you look at the person's name on the contract, Jay Miller, we brought him in for a while to help out when my brother got sick and some other things. But the text message between me and him, he even acknowledges that he was involved. I wasn't involved in the day-to-day operation, maybe as much as I should have been, but they were his signatures, and I wasn't even aware they were done.
Well, see, that doesn't make any sense, Paul, because Habitat for Humanity's reimbursement request to the city, which had your company, Alfrey Roofing, listed as a subcontractor, was submitted by the director, Anna Terry Berry. More on her in a second. So the request was submitted March 24th, 2025. And I have a text message from you dated April 5th, 2025, just a week and a half later, where you state, quote, got a $2,200 check from Habitat. I deposited it today. Please mark paid, end quote. And you sent a picture you took of the check. Does that sound like someone who is not up to date and in control of the day-to-day of his company? Now, how about this email from June 29th of 2025, where you stated, quote, here are the attachments to send to Habitat. It includes my license, our insurance, and W-9, end quote. But wait, that's not all. What about this text message conversation to your good friend Jeanette Jarnes from June 11th, 2025, where you stated, quote, good morning, Jeanette. Per our conversation last night, have Habitat for Humanity contact our office on scheduling future jobs. John Miller was referring them to us before, and he does not have an active roofing license, nor insurances or employees to complete the work. We complete Habitat's work now. Again, thanks for dinner last night. We greatly appreciate this. End quote. Then Jeanette Jarnes answers, quote, hello, Paul. Great seeing you guys last night. Thank you for the information. I will definitely be contacting Anna at Habitat for Humanity today. End quote. Anna is Anna Terry Berry, the director of Habitat for Humanity, who signed the reimbursement request that had the mayor's roofing company listed as a subcontractor. I don't know about all of you. It seems weird to me, though, that the mayor said, quote, we do Habitat's work now, end quote. Sounds like a command, not a request for work. Maybe he's commanding them to do it because...
Maybe it's a typing error. Did you ever think about that? You know, Sean, you're making it sound any way you want, but it could clearly be a typo when he was typing out his text message. You know, autocorrect does do that at times to my text messages to family and friends, where it makes it sound like I said one thing when I actually meant another. But again, there's no real context other than what we are provided. You're trying to say that he's embezzling money, that he took a kickback, when clearly he was doing a legitimate job for Habitat for Humanity as a subcontractor. When the original contractor can't do the job, they usually get a subcontractor, someone who they choose to help do the work. Now, this is a common practice in construction. This is a common thing. But you're trying to say this is corruption, this is the mayor being, taking a kickback, he's demanding they give him the jobs and the money. You're throwing everything you can at the wall to see what's going to stick without any real proof. The only proof that you have provided us is that you are a pawn used by the mayor's the late brother's ex-wife to do her bidding to put pressure on the mayor. You are a pawn in this entire game, not the king, but the pawn.
Just the year before, he voted on and signed legislation that gave them $500,000. Seems like corruption to me, Mayor, but what do I know? I'm just a paid agitator, right?
And again, given this to the attorney, we will be responding. There's more litigation coming on this because I've been accused of numerous things because, in my opinion, I will not give half of my company up to my sister-in-law. So as she's told numerous people, bad things are coming out about you. So I'm not going to be extorted. Bring it. And again, my legal team will be handling that. More people, and like I said, be glad. And I thank you for bringing that up because that's the elephant on the dais. And again, appreciate that. And once this gets moving, I'll be glad to keep council updated. That business, I had decided after my brother passed away, that business is being liquidated. And Mr. Colombo, I wasn't here at the time. I was on a scheduled vacation, and then I had another event. So I was accused of dodging or not coming, but we've all been to other events and has to deal whether it's TPO or something. But, I find it interesting that, again, in my opinion, a paid agitator would come in because and work with my sister-in-law because, again, my opinion, because I won't give up half of my company. I'm not going to be extorted. I'll see him in court. Anybody have any other questions? And I'd be glad to send that information to council tomorrow, okay? But I appreciate you, again, bringing that up.
Well, there's something we can agree upon, Mayor. I appreciate Councilwoman Bassett as well. She's the only one on the council who had the courage to, at the very least, bring up the mayor's corruption. Everyone else is either complicit or a coward. Side note, I cannot believe that there weren't any follow-up questions by any of the council members. These are your public servants, residents of Melbourne. Disgusting.
And we're going to hear, folks, clearly the mayor has shown us that this isn't about any real corruption. This is about trying to make it look like he's corrupt. Because, you know, a family dispute over the roofing company, and now the late brother's ex-wife is using Sean as a pawn to apply pressure. And now Sean is going around acting as if he's doing the righteous job, as if he's the king. In reality, he's nothing more than a pawn in this sick game. The rest of the video is just Sean harassing the mayor and other members of the city council, making up accusations. So if you guys like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up and a comment because it really helps me with the algorithm. Don't forget to check out my second channel, the podcast, and don't forget to sign up for your free 14-day trial with Aura. With all that being said, be well, be safe, and I will see you guys next time. And a very special thank you to all members of the news team. Without all of your support, I couldn't keep this channel going. So I want to thank you all personally from the bottom of my heart. You guys mean the world to me, and I can never thank you enough. You guys rock.